Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, I make a dress, a lovely summer dress. It's McCall's M7948.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
This McCall's pattern seriously makes the cutest summer dress. Oh, don't mind the strawberry dress over on the left there. I couldn't be bothered cleaning up, so I just put the skirt of the strawberry dress over the boxes there. Yeah, really hiding it. Anyway, so this is the McCall's pattern, and she just looks adorable in this dress, but it's made out of embroidery on glaze, so a really thin cotton fabric with machine embroidery on it. And I hate the way that you can see the seams on the inside, so I'm going to make it, instead of with the facing, especially the back facing here, this is cute, but I prefer to make dresses without sleeves. And then if I feel like adding sleeves, I'd either wear a cardigan over the top or a t-shirt underneath. Anyway, so I've got 2 yards of fabric. This is 2 yards long and quilt fabric, so it's 45 inches wide. So for the top half yard, I use that to make the bodice, the front and the back, and then the rest of it I just straighten up the edges and I cut it into two, and I'll sew them together, and that will be the skirt. So I am using this pattern, this McCall's one, but I'm just using the front piece of the bodice and the back piece of the bodice, and then the skirt is just made out of a big loop of fabric. But yeah, you do need the two pieces. They're the only bits that you need to trace out. So I also lengthened it a little bit because it's really cute, the actual dress, but I want one that ties a little bit lower. So anyway, I've cut out 2 back pieces because you don't cut them on the fold, and then I've cut out the front piece on the fold, and I've also cut out a lining front piece and a lining the 2 back pieces. So first thing, and as I said, I straightened up the rest of the fabric, then divided it into 2, and that's going to be my skirt. So first we're going to make the bodice, and the first thing I have to do is pin the 2 backs together. There's a notch about 1/3 of the way down from the neck, and so that's going to be the left open because that's where you button it up. But the bottom 2/3, you pin them together and stitch them. Okay, they have been machine sewn. So now I have 1 full back outer and 1 full back lining. The beige is the lining. So now we need to put the front right side down. So the outer front goes on the outer back, obviously, outer, and the lining front goes on the lining back, right sides together, pin them at the shoulders. They've got 2 notches at the shoulders, so I matched them up, and then I pinned them and I machine sewed them, and so they're both done, and then I machine sewed them, and once that was done, I pinned them together at the neckline, the outer one and the lining one, but I forgot to film it. And then I machine sewed them together, and then I've just cut the corners so that when I turn it out, they'll sit properly. And I've also clipped the curve because the neckline is round, so you just have to cut little notches in there so that when you turn it out, it will sit flat. So now that that's done, it's time to push this through so that the right sides are out. Here we go. And yeah, if you ever, when you're doing the burrito method, because I'm making this doing the burrito method, if you ever sort of get confused about where you are, this is the step I always forget. Turn it out so that the right side's out. And yeah, so if you ever get confused when you're doing the burrito method, just go back 1 step or 2 steps and you'll figure out which one you skipped. But that's the step I always skip. Anyway, so now you lay it down flat again, and then you just, with the outer fabric, you flip that over so that you can flip under the lining fabric. You basically just have to get the lining fabric out of the way. So now it looks the same on top, but I don't have the lining fabric there to get caught. So now I need to roll this side that's closest to me. I need to roll that all the way up It's half rolled up here. I need to roll it all the way in so that it's lying on the shoulder strap of the side that we're working on. So I've got the outer fabric on one side and I've got the beige lining on the other side. Now I have to put this side of the burrito over the top of the filling and make the two shoulder seams touch and pin them together, then pin the whole armhole. And there we go. So the beige is the on top, that's the lining side, and on the underneath we've got the outer fabric, which is the floral one. So now I just need to machine sew that. And then once you've machine sew it, you have to, it's a curve, so you need to do the notches, clip it. And then once you've done that, you just carefully pull through the whole of the bodice. Just lift up the lining here and just pull the whole thing through, and then just do the exact same thing for the other side. And so now we've basically got a bodice. We just need to sew the sides together. So then you just pin the floral side with the floral side and the lining side with the lining side. And once they're all pinned, and make sure they match exactly under the arm, because you'll be able to see if they don't. And then you just machine sew them, and then you turn, and then you press the seams open. You really, really have to press this seam open, and then otherwise it'll be too bulky under your arm. And then you turn it out, and there we go. So now that our bodice is done, it is time to get the rest of the fabric. As I said earlier, we used a half yard to cut the bodice front and the bodice back. Then with the rest of it, you straighten them up and cut it into half, and half will be the front and half will be the back. So this way, even if it's directional, everything is going the same way. And it means that you've got salvage on either side, so you don't have to worry about overlocking or anything like that, because it's salvage, it's naturally won't fray. So you pin the two salvages together, then you machine sew them. And if this pattern does have a pocket, so you can cut out pockets and put one on your left and one on your right if you want. And anyway, so the skirt is done. So now we have our bodice and we have our skirt, and you just pleat them together. So you pin them together at 4 points: front, center, back, center, left and right. And then you find halfway between those points, then halfway between those points, and you just pleat it down. So here we go. I have pleated them together, and I've got mine in a box formation, which means they all go into the center front on the front, and on the back they all go into the center back. But you can just, if it's easier, you can do knife pleats, which means they all go around the same way, which is much easier to do if you're doing pleats for the first time. Then you machine sew it and you reinforce it by machine sewing it again. Then you turn the whole thing inside out and bring down the lining of the bodice over the top of the seams of the skirt, and you hide them up in the bodice. And then you stitch down the lining of the bodice, and then you turn it back out the correct way. And here we go. We have finished our summer dress. It's really quite quick, but it's so lovely. I absolutely love it. And as I said, the actual McCall's pattern is a lot more cropped than this, the bodice. I just used Butterick 6677 pattern, and I lengthened it to the length of that one. I suppose a short, like a cropped bodice is fine for a short dress, but I want to use it to make another layer cake dress, the patchwork top for the aqua one. So, and that's what it looks like from the side without the tie on it, and this is what it looks like from the back. I changed the armholes slightly to make them a little bit racer back. I think I'm going to do it more so for the next one, because yeah, and this is it with a silver ribbon on it. It looks very cute. It's a low slung. I'm going to swap it out for a sash in a minute, and I'm going to tie it slightly higher. So yeah, if you want to look more like less feminine, then tying it sort of lower, closer to your hips is a good look. But if you want to sort of accentuate how curvy you are, then tying it at your natural waist sort of brings in your natural waist and pops out your hips. So it depends what look you're going for. And this is it from the side, and I don't think we see it from the back. But yeah, it's a really pretty dress, and it doesn't take long to make, and it's just so summery and lovely. I mean, I wear the same wardrobe year round. I just add a few layers underneath if it's cold. But yeah, oh, and this is an update on my cactus flower jacket. I have started I think last time you saw it, I just started one cuff and it wasn't working for me. I haven't started taking them off again yet. But yeah, I started the second sleeve and this one is so much better. It looks almost done from this angle, but it's so completely not. I've done about a third, well, almost half of this first sleeve. And yeah, this is a much better way. It's more difficult to do it this way, but you get the finish that you want. So I actually had to work on my workbench for this. I couldn't sit on the sofa covered in blankets, but it's actually not that cold anymore. So anyway, so yeah, I'm getting there, and obviously I ran out of thread at that top bit there. I'll go back and do the other sections, but it's just once you get into a flow, you sort of have to keep going. Oh, and I missed the second. There's one flower here where I missed the second of the large sequins as I was putting it together. So as I said, I'll finish the whole jacket, then I'll go back and change and carefully cut it out, tie it off and redo it, I guess. I don't know how I manage that. I do tend to just bead while I'm doing something else in my head. So yeah, occasionally I just look down at what I'm doing and I'm like, what are you doing? What? But yeah, it's looking pretty good. And I'm glad, because the sleeves, I was just like, how am I going to do them? How am I going to do them? But this is working. It's slow, and it's like obviously I wasn't concentrating enough, but you do have to concentrate. But I've kind of got the knack of doing it, because the thing with sequin work is that you have to keep your tension at exactly the right amount for it all to work. So yeah, it's very tricky, but I will get there eventually. And here it is sitting on the bench. It's so lovely. It's just a ridiculous amount of work. But anyway, yeah, so I've done a little bit more beading on this amazing jacket. It's going to be so bling once it's done. I mean, it's already pretty bling, but yeah. And the colours are just so fabulous together. I think I'm going to have some flowers left over. I'm not sure, but I think I will. And I've got this jacquard that's sort of white, and it's got flowers and cabbage moths on it, or cabbage butterflies, those little white butterflies. So I might make a jacket out of that and use the leftovers on that. That won't be the next thing I make. I think the Audrey Hepburn Sabrina jacket with the clear flowers, I want to make that. And I also haven't made a tweed jacket in ages. So let me know if you have a strong preference for either seeing so yeah, I've got loads. I've definitely got enough to finish this, but I might have enough to do a little bit on the second jacket, maybe. But yeah, so the Sabrina jacket or a tweed jacket. I'm thinking maybe the mauve and white and silver and gold tweed, or the red and the red brick one. And now that I've finally got the pattern right for this bodice, I can make the patchwork bodice for this too. But I think I should make a Chanel style jacket next. Probably a tweed one, because, I haven't made a tweed one in a while. But then it's the end of summer, so maybe make a cotton one, because they're so summery. Ugh, I am forever stressing myself out with my massive list of things to do. I should just chill. I have zero chill. Anyway, this jacket's going to be so fabulous once it's done. And here is the reason for this video, this lovely dress. I seriously highly, highly recommend this dress pattern. But all you need is the bodice front and the bodice back, and then you just pleat down a skirt out of the rest of the remaining fabric. It's super simple and it's just delightful. I love this dress. It's the best. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and happy sewing.